this very building. This was a pre-planned assault, make no mistake, and that is a critical fact. Watch this.
Does anyone in this chamber honestly believe that but for the conduct of President Trump, that a charge in the article of impeachment, that attack at the Capitol would have occurred? Does anybody believe that?
It was not some sort of spontaneous decision by a bunch of, quote, protesters to go up to Capitol Hill and storm Capitol Hill. This was all planned out.
I'm loving this music that they put behind it.
How much of this was strategized ahead of time?
They are getting indications, some evidence that they've seen that indicates that there was some level of planning.
There appears to be premeditation.
FBI internal report the day before the siege, warning of a violent war at the Capitol.
The FBI issued a warning of a, quote, war at the Capitol.
The FBI warned law enforcement agencies about this specific attack.
Be ready to fight. Congress needs to hear glass breaking, doors being kicked in.
We developed some intelligence that a number of individuals were planning to travel to the D.C. area with intentions to cause violence.
Imagine that.
We immediately shared that information.
And they pushed out that information through this JTTF structure.
It was immediately disseminated through a written product and briefed through our command post operations to all levels of law enforcement.
The FBI says 2 pipe bombs discovered near the Capitol on January 6th were placed there the night before.
New video appears to show a person suspected of planting.
Okay, am I watching a security commercial, or is this like...
The FBI now says the bombs were planted the night before the
This is
Capitol
ridiculous.
siege, between 7:30 and 8:30 p.m. They were planted the day before.
All goes to the idea of premeditation and coordination among individuals.
Who puts bed music under evidence?
So to answer the question of the House manager, does anybody believe that this would have occurred but for the speech from Donald Trump? I do.
So dramatic.
All of these facts make clear the January 6th speech did not cause the riots. The president did not cause the riots. He neither explicitly or implicitly encouraged the use of violence or lawless action, but in fact called for peaceful exercise of every American's First Amendment rights to peacefully assemble and petition their government for redress of grievances. In other words, the Brandenburg Standard is not made out.
Oh, Jesus.
The House managers admitted many facts are unknown. Even Speaker Pelosi admitted not knowing the real cause of the violence when she called for a 9/11 style commission to examine the facts and causes that led to the violence. On the screen is Speaker Pelosi's call for the 9/11 commission.
This guy is crashing and burning. It's pretty hilarious.
Let's touch now on the second absurd and conflated allegation in the House manager's single article. President Trump's phone call to Georgia Secretary of State Ben Roethlisberger, surreptitiously recorded, by the way, included multiple attorneys and others on the call. Let me point out the very obvious fact that the House managers ignored. The private call that was made public by others cannot really be the basis to claim that the president intended to incite a riot, because he did not publicly disclose the contents of the call. How could he have hoped to use this call to invite his followers if he had no intent to make the conversation public and indeed had nothing to do with it being secretly recorded? The House managers told you that the president demanded that the Georgia Secretary of State, quote, find just over 11,000 votes. The word find, like so many others the House managers highlighted, is taken completely out of context.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm sure. Yeah.
And the word find did not come out of thin air. Based on an analysis of publicly available voter data
Yo,
the
yo,
ballot
Joe.
rejection rate in Georgia in 2016.
Fire Shire fam Jacksonville. Holler.
6.42%. And even though a tremendous amount of new first-time mail-in ballots were included in the 2020 count, the Georgia rejection rate in 2020 was a mere 0.4%.
This is
A
insane.
drop off from 6.42% to 0.4%. President Trump wanted the signature verification to be done in public. How can a request for signature verifications to be done in public be a basis for a charge for inciting a riot? With that background, it is clear that President Trump's comments and the use of the word "find" were solely related to his concerns with the inexplicable dramatic drop in Georgia's ballot rejection rates.
Really?
Let's examine how the word "find" was used throughout that conversation.
It depends on what your definition of is.
Mr. Trump's first use of the word "find" was as follows, quote, "We think that if you check the signatures, a real check of the signatures going back in Fulton County, you'll find at least
Amen,
a couple
Joe.
100,000 of forged signatures."
Amen. Logic need not apply.
Forged. And we are quite sure that's going to happen. President Trump
Does it sound all right there, Joe? Does it sound okay?
as follows, quote, "Now, why aren't we doing signature, and why can't it be open to the public? And why can't we have professionals do it instead of rank amateurs who will
Rank
never find
amateurs.
anything and don't want to find anything?"
What the hell is a rank amateur?
You know, they don't want to find anything. Someday you'll tell me the reason
Awesome,
why,
man. Thank you for letting me know.
because I don't understand your reasoning. But someday you'll tell me the reason why. But why don't you want to find? President Trump echoed his previous sentiments, again in the context of
I'm going to start using the word amateur from now on.
investigation into the lack of signature verification for mail-in and absentee ballots. Quote, "And why can't we have professionals?"
But
do it
isn't
instead of
that
rank
supposed to be amateur? Or is amateur correct? English is my second language, so I can always default to that. But I thought it was amateur. English is weird.
They don't want to find, they don't want to find anything. Someday you'll tell me why, because I don't understand your reasoning, but someday you'll tell me why. But why don't you want to find? We can go through signature verification and we'll find hundreds of thousands of signatures, and you can let us do it. And the only way you can do it, as you know, is to go to the past. But you didn't do that in Cobb County. You just looked at one page compared to another. The only way you could do a signature verification is to go from one that signed it on November whatever, recently, and compare it to 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago, or even one. And you'll find that you have many different signatures. But in Fulton, where they dumped ballots, you will find that you have many that aren't even signed and that you have many forgeries. End quote. Mr. Trump continued to use the word "find" throughout the conversation. Each and every other time in the context of his request that Mr. Raffensperger undertake a review of signature verifications, and his concerns generally with ballot integrity and his reported electoral deficit, here are a few examples.
Okay. Anglican or Canadian style. Got it.
Why wouldn't you want to find the right?
Whatever. It's a funny way to say it.
Brad, instead of keep saying that the numbers are right, because those numbers are so wrong. Another example, quote, "We think that if you check the signatures, a real check of the signatures going back in Fulton County, you'll find at least a couple 100,000 of forged signatures of people who have been forged. And we are quite sure
Pomp as in
that's going
pompadour?
to happen." End quote. Moreover, there was nothing untoward with President Trump, or any other candidate for that matter, speaking with the lead elections officer of a state, That's why the Georgia Secretary of State took a call along with members of his team, one of whom decided to record it and release it to the press. The only reason this conversation is being discussed in this chamber is because, once again, the media and their Democratic allies
pompous.
distorted the true conversation.
Good old pompous people. This guy doesn't seem pompous at all.
So we have a complete lack of evidence for the article of impeachment presented by the House managers. So why are we here? Politics.
Wow.
Their goal is to eliminate a political opponent, to substitute their judgment for the will of the voters.
Why bother with a Senate trial of Donald Trump? He's no longer president.
He'll be out of office anyway.
Is it to keep him from ever running again?
Make sure he can never run for office again.
Keep him from running for office again.
Donald Trump would not be able to run for office again.
Barring him from running for office again.
Disqualified from running for office.
Disqualify him from ever running from office.
Yes, because we don't want him back making more danger.
It's about focusing.
Dummy.
He can never run again.
Remove him from ever running for office again.
Never be able to run for office again.
To ban former President Trump from
Okay, seriously, with the bed music, are you serious right now?
Get reelected.
This is ridiculous.
The goal is to eliminate a political opponent, to substitute their judgment for the will of the voters.
I imagine an intern on Motion Array just trying to find whatever they can to make this happen. Some dramatic music. I bet you if I Google dramatic music, it'll be like the first 3 things that it shows up. The first 3 beds that show up is one of those.
And deliver more COVID relief. But instead, they did this.
Oh, now we're talking about COVID relief, huh?
Not take most of our time today, us of the defense, in the hopes that you will take back these hours and use them to get delivery,
not
COVID
DiGiorno.
relief to the American people.
Delivery, not DiGiorno.
Let us be clear. This trial is about far more than President Trump.
Oh, sure.
It is about silencing and banning the speech the majority does not agree with.
Oh, shut up.
It is about canceling.
Wait, did he say the majority? So he agrees that the majority does not want him as president.
Criminalizing political viewpoints. That is what this trial is really about. It's
On the Hijack next week, I'm going to talk about the anthem being removed from the Mavericks games. Pretty awesome.
It asks for constitutional cancel culture to take over in the United States Senate.
Cancel.
Are we going to allow canceling and banning and silencing to be sanctioned in this body?
Where do these people get the balls?
To the Democrats who view this as a moment of opportunity, I urge you instead to look to the principles of free expression and free speech.
Wow.
I hope truly that the next time you are in the minority, you don't find yourself in this position. To the Republicans in this chamber, I ask, when you are next in the majority, please resist what will be an overwhelming temptation to do this very same thing to the opposing party.
This is so dumb. This is so dumb.
Members of the Senate, this concludes the formal defense of the 45th President of the United States.
Oh, thank Christ.
The impeachment article filed by the House of Representatives. I understand that there is a procedure in place.
Here's Rincon asking for requests now.
Thereafter, we will close on behalf of President Trump.
I'll see if he's got Despacito for you, bro.
Mr. President, we yield the balance.
And
Time is yielded.
I ask unanimous consent. We take a 15-minute recess.
Without objection, the Senate will stand in recess.
Wow. That was a whew. So right now we have this guy. What was his? I don't even know what his attorney's name is. But
Bruce Castor
just
opened the
blathering.
week for the former president's legal team, arguing about the constitutionality. And this afternoon,
Party in the USA. It would be appropriate, Rincon. It would be appropriate.
on the one article of impeachment, incitement of insurrection. That article of impeachment passed by the House on January 13th, 1 week after the attack on the U.S. Capitol of January 6th. There's a break here, and the senators will return, and the attorneys will return for questions from senators. As this break continues, we're going to open up our phone lines to hear from you and ask you the question, did the defense team
C-SPAN.
make their case?
Jesus Christ. All right.
In defending the former president. 202-748-8920 is the line to use. 8921 is the line to use for Republicans. 202-748-8920 for Democrats.
Are you
And for
kidding me?
independents and others, the line to use 202-748-8922. So the defense, probably about 2.5 hours of comments from the defense team. As
Wow. So C-SPAN apparently has a line specifically, or C-SPAN 2, I guess, has a line specifically for specifically for Republicans and Democrats. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, on the hijack this week, I'm going to be chatting about the fact that Mark Cuban is leading the way, ladies and gentlemen, leading the way. He is leading the way in taking the national anthem from the sporting event, from the NBA events there at Maverick Stadium. I don't know what it's called. American Airlines Stadium? No, that's Miami. I don't know who owns the rights, the naming rights to the Mavericks. I think it's just the Maverick Stadium. I have no idea. Either way, the point is that that's what I'm going to be talking about on the hijack on Friday. Not this Friday, a week from today. Today, the Shane Smith interview came out. That was a lot of fun. Shout out to Shane Smith, a fellow hardcore kid, fellow rollerblader. Well, I used to rollerblade. I don't rollerblade anymore. I blew my knee out 4 times, dude. Pornhub tried to buy that stadium. Rincon on the Facebook Live says that Pornhub tried to buy the stadium for the Mavericks, where the Mavericks play. That's pretty awesome and hilarious. And I'm for it. I'm for it, man. I am absolutely for it. Okay, so just to those listening in different 4 different mediums, it says can't post comment to some destinations, learn more. That's what the StreamYard thing says. So if you're posting, I would go to Facebook or Twitch, really. Facebook or Twitch are the 2 places that where I'm able to see anything. Sorry, it's the Miami Stadium. The Miami Stadium makes more sense than the Dallas Stadium. I think the Miami Stadium makes way more sense to be the Pornhub Studios or Pornhub Arena, I guess. Would they just go with Pornhub Arena, or would they try to make something phallic out of that? That would be hilarious if they bought the naming rights, and then got to and then named it, like, I don't know, the Fleshlight Forum, just for alliteration. I don't know. Well, I guess they would have to own the Fleshlight. Maybe they can do a partnership. I don't know. I just think that it would be a lost cause if they just call it the Pornhub Stadium, right? It would be an absolute lost cause. It would be the biggest waste of a naming right. I would love to hear what a good. I'm not good at naming things. I'm not good at naming things at all. This show, even the hijack, or the show I'm doing show prep for, was named by the homie Greg Runge at GregRungeTV.com. Follow him on the TikToks. He's a big TikTok guy. Let's see here. Beat your heat. I like that. That's Beat Your Heat is a good one. Yeah, Beat the Heat is not going to work because that's where Miami plays Beat the Heat, so that wouldn't work. But no, you're absolutely right. Beat Your Heat. Well, that would be a stretch. We're gonna need another one. Rincon. Rincon is he just hangs out every time I jump on live, and it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. Kind of like having a text co-host for every live that I do. It's nice. Thank you for your patronage, Rincon. Where are you playing today? American Anal Arena. Okay, all right. I'm more for that one. That would actually work. Yeah, American Anal Arena. Yeah, no. Brought to you by Pornhub. Anyway, so yeah, no, that's good. Hey, where are you playing, Rincon? Where are you playing this week? Are you playing tonight? What's tonight? Friday night? Yeah. What are you doing tonight? You're one of the only Wildflower in Baldwin Park. All right. Shout out to the Wildflower in Baldwin Park. That is where the homie Rincon is going to be. So yeah, that's awesome. You're one of the few DJs that I know that is actually regularly DJing. I mean, there's a handful of you, but that's good. That's good. I'm going to play all this. Yeah, you're going to play all the songs. I get it, man. I understand. I've never been like, how do you do requests? Do you play like, are you a big request guy? I hate requests. Like, I know DJs that are really good at it. It's because I'm the Pablo Escobar of DJs here. It is true. You are definitely the Pablo Escobar of DJs here. You're absolutely right. It's pretty awesome. I love seeing what you're doing. I love the fact that you're on terrestrial radio regularly. That's badass. But yeah, no, I don't like the. I feel like requests interrupt my. Exactly. Yeah. Well, yes. Before they. Okay. See, this is typical Rincon answer. That's a typical Rincon answer. He says, I read the crowd and just know what to play before they ask. Yes, typically that's ideally what you do. But you have to have had somebody come up to you to ask you to play Despacito, right? Everybody has had. There is no DJ I know that has not had the Despacito. Or the Party in the USA. Can't you be both? Can't you be an artist and an entertainer? I feel like in some ways you could be both. And in some ways I am both. So that's true. That is a great, deep question. That can also double as a troll. Because that is everything you say, by the way, everything you say, Rincon, everything you say, I hear it as in like a troll tone. If you play like an artist for yourself. Oh, okay. I see what you mean. No, yeah. You're absolutely right. You have to play for the crowd. You have to play for the people that are paying your bills. No, that's actually a very good point. If you play like an artist for yourself as a DJ, then you get bombarded. Unless you're fitting the demographic that you play. You know what I'm saying? Like I get I like getting gigs where I just know what the feel of the night is going to be and go from there. I'm booked as a DJ. You're absolutely right. That is absolutely true. That is a damn good argument. Not an argument because I agree with you, but that is a good point of view. I think that is what is wrong with a lot of DJs is they don't know when to play for their crowd. They always want to divert. Which I understand because I'm a music nerd, so I love music. So, but yeah, let's see. Are we back online? Are we back on this? Let's see what's happening.
The other side didn't. They pieced everything.
Oh Jesus Christ! This is just one of the callers. Look at that. Republicans and Democrats. They have different lines, and then others. Were others? Am I an other? You never. I am your crowd. Yeah, I don't play for a crowd when I'm online, bro. I play for me. I'll play Despacito for you next time. And the other reason that I don't play any of the songs that you're asking me to play will get me muted every time. I'm already getting getting ghosted, getting muted. Like the only reason that I jump on the streams is because Twitch has a minimum amount of hours that you need to stream for before they allow you to post things. So really, I am just filling time and doing show prep, which makes it nice. I am always very selfish. Yes, on my streams, I am always selfish. That is absolutely true. But yeah, so like I just get. That's what I do. That's what I do. So let's see. Are we done with the callers?
The law and order rule of law, President. That's all I have to say.
What do you think of their using the endless montage of Democrats saying fight, fight, fight? Are these the same thing?
Of course not. Of course not. What about them? What about this? What about that? It has nothing to do with the real question, which is, did the president incite an insurrection that led to rioters at the Capitol ending up in 7 people dying? That is the question. The focus is on what he did, not what everybody else did or said. It was so childish.
Yeah.
It was so to me, just totally pathetic and amateurish.
Amateurish. There it is. It's true. It's a real thing. I've just been misquoting, missaying it. Amateur. From now on, I'm gonna say it that way. I'm gonna say amateur.
Because when they tried to argue that the president was telling the crowd, yes, you should wait until the election.
The hottest politician.
To go get the people.
Ooh. That's a good question. I don't know. I'd have to. The thing is, conservatives have some attractive women. I have some attractive dudes too, but they're not my. I'm not a thing. It's not my style. I guess I could tell you the good looking the. Jesus, dude, seriously? I guess Rincon wants to know what politician I would have intercourse with. No. Let's see. I mean, I don't want to say.
And that Joe Biden is the duly elected president of the United States. I don't know if those questions will be asked.
This is more important. Let's watch this.
Do you have a problem with some of the Republican senators seem to be working with the Trump legal team, having private meetings in between the sessions?
Well, that goes to show that this is an impeachment trial. And so it is what the senators determined to be the president having incited an insurrection, and whether to us that constitutes a high crime in this.
I'm not backpedaling. I just no. Oh God, no, dude! I'm not gonna say that kind of stuff. That's not cool.
Recognize that. I would say most people have used words like, we need to fight back, we need to stand up for our rights, and all of that. But how many of us have said that and caused?
Hold on, you're saying that the hard pressing questions that we need answers to is which politician I would have intercourse with. That is what everybody is wondering. Everybody is wondering, I'm not running for office. I don't have to run for office to not say what I don't want to say. I mean, I think that there are attractive members of our governmental body. And they're great. I'm sure they are fantastic people, and I'm sure they like to get freaky, and I don't want to assume.
Some reaction from members of the House.
I am the worst politician in the world. If this is me being a politician, I am the worst politician.
The intellectual dishonesty, and utter shameless hypocrisy of his liberal Democrat accusers and the House managers. Jody Heiss of Georgia, the video played by Trump's defense team just did a slam dunk job exposing the Democrats' outrageous record of hypocrisy and double standards.
Oh, Jesus,
and the
seriously?
Senate trial has forced every major news network to cover it.
Who do I think it's the freakiest? The younger ones, probably. Or maybe the older ones. Maybe the older ones. I don't know. You know what? I bet you Pelosi does. I bet you Pelosi gets really freaky.
Illinois' own Abraham Lincoln. May we remember his leadership and his unwavering commitment.
I bet you she's kinky.
We heard from Senator Hirono a moment ago. Just before that, we didn't get all of it. We'll show it to you now. Senator Ron Johnson, Republican of Wisconsin.
Ron Johnson. That's a porn name if I've ever heard one.
I think the president's lawyers blew the House manager case out of the water. They legally eviscerated them. I think their arguments they showed the distortions of the tweets, the selective editing, showed the reason why.
What? No, I would not. Well, no, for 100K, I mean, look, for 100K, I do a lot of things, Rincon. He is asking if I would, with Pelosi, and the answer is, I don't think so. I mean, well, no, for 100K, yes, 100%, no question.
The defense and whether they made their case. Roll call here reporting what may be becoming more obvious as
I would be hammered. I would be absolutely shattered. I would be stoned like a biblical whore. I would be drunk like just for 750. Are you upping it? Like this is bad negotiating, Rincon. I already said I'd do it for 100K. For 750K, I mean,
behind their video clips, the unnecessary war.
I don't know. I'd do a lot for 750K.
Why do you think they used that? What was your take on that?
To sway emotional opinions, to present, just to make it seem like that we're on some kind of war path, particularly when Democrats spoke about events of last summer. And then I noticed interspersed were when Trump was speaking, sometimes it returned to.
Oh, yeah. Okay, hey, let me know how long it takes for this to come out.
Thanks so much for taking my call.
Sure.
And for your representation of the events, I like how when they're not live, you're showing footage from both sides. I think they clearly demonstrated there is no case here. Trump has been nothing but pro-America, America first, law and order for his entire life, not just while he's been president. And if nothing else, the hypocrisy it stands out, and the divide isn't going anywhere. When I just watched the one Democrat that just spoke on camera, she saw something completely different than what Johnson just said, right? So how do we mend? How do we bridge the gap? When, in my opinion, it was evident. I was actually there, and it was one of the most wonderful days of my life. We didn't know what was happening up there. It was very peaceful. It was like hanging out with 1 million of my closest neighbors. They don't show you any of that.
People are
There's a lot of footage
psychopaths.
from that day that really is not represented.
So Heidi, you never made it up to the Capitol, though. You never came up to
No,
Capitol Hill.
I did, but we walked, we strolled, we took photos, we talked with the people who were literally strolling. There were elderly people with walkers we were talking with. I mean,
and when did you kind of become aware that things were bad?
We passed the U.S. Supreme Court, and every time a group would pass there, we let our voices be heard and said, stop the steal. There was a large chanting that was intermittent every time we would pass. Well, when I passed, I saw the group, but through footage, I saw. Anyway, that wasn't the target of Antifa. I saw Antifa throughout the whole day. It was clearly pre-planned, but you don't go up to somebody and say, hey, are you Antifa? When there's 1 million people there. It was very uncomfortable. And in hindsight, I think.
So it was simultaneously very uncomfortable and like hanging out with your closest neighbors.
Pre-planned event. And as I got very close. Certainly wasn't going to go in. It's not what we do. We follow the law. I wanted to stand in front of my Capitol as a person, as a citizen of this country, and just be heard. I wanted them to see our faces, and we weren't there to scare or intimidate. I just wanted them to know that we really, really felt this election was stolen from our president. And I still do.
Wow.
Go ahead, finish up. Yeah.
Oh, and I think there's many of us those 75 million of us that still do feel this election was stolen. And that's a problem for America. How do you vote again?
All right. Thanks for your comments and your experience here on January 6th. We're seeing senators return to the chamber. They're going to return for up to 4 hours of questions for the attorneys on both sides, the House managers and the former president's team. Ording Washington is next. Michael, go ahead. We may be going back to the Senate floor shortly, but welcome your comments.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to real quick respond. A caller earlier was mentioning this too. The music that was being played over the clips, it was blatantly propaganda music
Of course.
The drums of war every time a Democrat is speaking, and the flowing, uplifting music whenever the former president is speaking. It was clearly emotionally manipulative, and I think it's an insult to the intelligence of the American people to be doing that while simultaneously accusing the House managers of using edited footage. And
that is
even
hilarious.
when they went on to try to re-argue about the alleged stolen election and the president trying to find the votes, the only thing that I agree with that the president's lawyers said was if they're trying to fool you about one thing, they're trying to fool you about everything.
Okay, Michael, a tweet here from Burgess Everett of Politico on the eventual vote. He's saying this: Senate GOP is a buzz over who is voting to convict. Smart money is still 5-6. Privately, 5 to 6 Republicans believe that 5 to 10 senators are weighing conviction votes, according to the latest reporting. McConnell's still saying nothing to colleagues. Eyes are on Burr and Portman. Montclair, New Jersey is next. We'll hear from Robin on the independent line.
Hi, this is Robin. Hi, I'm glad you take my call. I just wanted to say that on TV, everybody is for with the Democrats, but the Democrats are wrong. They are trying to frame Trump, which he had no reason to do, or did he do, have those people go to the Capitol building. He wasn't at the Capitol building, so how are they going to charge him? He didn't do anything at the Capitol building. He didn't go there and harm any of the senators.
All right, Pittstown, Pennsylvania, Republican line. John, did the attorneys make their case for the former president?
I really believe that President Trump did, and his attorneys made his case very good. I would also like to just throw something in there, a little curveball in there. I noticed that last two impeachments, including this one, when are we going to end the divide? Like down the middle. We already know what's going to happen. All the Democrats are going to vote yes to impeach, and 6 are going to vote on the Republican side no. So I'm wondering, when do we come into the middle? When do we meet in the middle? When is this going to stop? It's just so.
Once we put that dude in jail, then we can talk about reconciliation, you gaslighting dummy.
I agree with the attorney. Let's talk about COVID relief. Let's talk about getting people back in school.
Let's talk about getting this guy into jail, and then we can do that.
Are struggling.
Or let's do both things at the same time, because we can, because this is America.
Heartbreaking for the country and to see this nonsense, really. That's pretty much it. I just wanted to throw that out there.
All right. To Daniel, Reading, Connecticut, on our Democrats line. What are your thoughts on the case made by the former president's attorneys?
Well, it was a pretty good case the way they laid it out, showing the full clips that the Democrats did very deceptive editing. Another thing I will say is it's all about control. You can't go outside, you can't go to church, you can't go to the store, and now you can't vote for who you want in 2024. That's what all this is about.
That is,
and it's disgusting. I hope the American people have the intelligence to see it, and I just hope that
the irony of this man using the word intelligence.
I am a Democrat myself, are held accountable. It's unbelievable. They know the truth, they know the facts, yet they still try to mislead the American people.
We're a little over 20 minutes into a break here. The legal arguments have ended. The cases have been presented. So up next is up to 4 hours of questions by senators of the teams on both sides. Those questions will be written by the senators, handed to the president pro tem, Patrick Leahy of Vermont, and he will likely read those questions, up to 4 hours of that. And it is increasingly more likely that we could see a final action, a final vote on the impeachment of former President Trump by tomorrow, sometime of final vote tomorrow. The schedule beyond these allotted 4 hours is unknown, but that's
awesome.
That's the way it's looking, with the defense team taking about 3 hours of their time. And earlier in the week, of course, wrapping up yesterday, the House managers using just over 11 of their 16 hours. We'll continue with our comments and questions from you, our callers, on whether or not the defense attorneys made their case. Next up is Keisha in Tampa, Florida, on the other line.
Keisha. Oh, Keisha.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, Keisha.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. Okay, here's the thing, and just to say, like, I'm not a Biden fan, I'm not a Trump fan. In my opinion, whoever.
Jesus, can everybody just stop saying that every time?
I did listen to the whole thing and saw the videos and things like that. I mean, let's be honest, there's editing on both sides. So, but the only.
Oh, hello, false equivalency. Nice to see you again.
I keep saying Trump had no influence. And it's just hard for me to get over that when you are seeing video going around of confirmed Trump supporters saying we're here in the Capitol because of Trump. I mean, so how can people keep saying he had no influence? I'm confused.
Let's hear from James. James is calling from Philadelphia on our Democrats line.
Hi there. I just want to make a strange point out something I've noticed here. This so-called president of law and order, on his very last day in office, pardoned handfuls of lawbreakers and people that were convicted by groups of their peers. The total law and order, one person, one rule, and everyone follows it, American way. And to ignore something like that and try to build a case off of law and order seems very strange to me. But I do want to say the defense prosecution made a case today. I don't know if it was one that benefited President Trump. They made a loophole series of arguments where they would say, do as we say, not as we do. They would say, well, we can't use edited clips or anything that seems deceiving. Whereas, and they said, talk about context. And then they proceeded to defy their own rules and show a series of clips that were hyper edited. I mean, super edited. Talk about an understatement. This was not letting people finish a sentence and sometimes splicing the exact same thing over top of itself, accompanied with dramatic music.
Yeah.
So, the idea that, they are representing a man that represents law and order, so much so that they feel the need to attack the prosecution on a personal level, is exactly what one does when they don't have the facts or the arguments on their side.
Ding, 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 ding.
These circular arguments saying that, there's too much heated rhetoric, but the Democrats hate Donald Trump. And that's enough of the reason that brought them here. I mean, it's just continuous loophole arguments that they're trying to make in gotcha moments while accusing the other side of being hypocrites. It's extremely unprofessional and juvenile. And I know that it might please Donald Trump, but the American people are watching, and the senators in that room are not the only audience.
Dave's next on the Republican line in Southbridge, Massachusetts.
Southbridge, shout out.
Hey, Dave, just mute your volume there and go ahead with your comment.
Turn down your radio, sir. Turn down your radio. Jesus, if I had a nickel.
Watched all the videos that they presented on TV, and I was seeing one of them with the gallows. If Trump, I do not think it was, his fault at all. This was pre-planned. How could they come up with a gallows, the same day? So that's why I was thinking it's like, how could it be true and convict the guy? He was a very good president. He did good for our country, protected us, built the wall, helped the military, got us our stimulus checks. I'll tell you, he is. All I have to say is God bless him and God bless America. Thank you.
Still waiting for the Senate to gavel back in to begin the up to 4 hours of testimony. We're going to show you next Bruce Castor, the lead attorney concluding the defense just a short while ago. We'll break away if we hear from senators, and obviously if the Senate gavels back in the next 3 minutes or so. Here's Bruce Castor with his closing arguments.
The goal is to eliminate a political opponent, to substitute their judgment for the will of the voters. Members of the Senate, our country needs to get back to work. I know that you know that. But instead, we are here. The majority party promised to unify and deliver more COVID relief. But instead, they did this. We will not take most of our time today, us of the defense, in the hopes that you will take back these hours and use them to get delivery, COVID relief to the American people. Let us be clear. This trial is about far more than President Trump. It is about silencing and banning the speech the majority does not agree with. It is about canceling 75 million Trump voters and criminalizing political viewpoints. That is what this trial is really about. It's the only existential issue before us. It asks for constitutional cancel culture to take over in the United States Senate. Are we going to allow canceling and banning and silencing to be sanctioned in this body? To the Democrats who view this as a moment of opportunity, I urge you instead to look to the principles of free expression and free speech. I hope truly that the next time you are in the minority, you don't find yourself in this position. To the Republicans in this chamber, I ask, when you are next in the majority, please resist what will be an overwhelming temptation to do this very same thing to the opposing party. Members of the Senate, this concludes the formal defense of the 45th President of the United States to the impeachment article filed by the House of Representatives. I understand that there is a procedure in place for questions, and we await them. Thereafter, we will close on behalf of President Trump.
That is Bruce Castor, the lead attorney on the defense team for the former president, Donald Trump. The impeachment trial set to resume shortly. A new phase here, 4 hours, up to 4 hours anyway, of questions for the attorneys on both sides. Here on C-SPAN 2, our live coverage continuing, and when they gavel back in, we'll go back inside the chamber. The majority leader, Senator Schumer, just went in. So let's.
All right, so basically, we just heard the latter half of the. Well, we didn't just hear it earlier. We heard the latter half of the former president's defense, and it was abysmal. It was awful. It was full of videos with bed music. I can imagine in the discovery process between the two camps, the two attorneys, or the two attorney teams, I guess. I can imagine them being like, here you go, here's the videos, and the prosecution watching those videos, listening to that music and going, oh yeah, we're good, yes, let's do this. Because there's no way, like, who do these people have any friends? Does this attorney have a friend that says, hey man, maybe don't put that in there? Or it sounds like Trump is actually being the guy. Trump is actually like the puppet master, and he's the one telling him this, and maybe inside his brain, he's just like, seriously? This is what we're doing. I mean, okay. How hard up for cash is this attorney? That's the question I want to know. How hard up for cash is that guy that he is currently defending Donald Jebediah Trump? It's ridiculous. But anyway, I'm going to leave. I'll come back probably later. Going to do a little bit more streaming, possibly with a guest to talk about this stuff. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out, and thanks for following me and all of that. Follow me on all the socials and over there and down there.